Hello everyone, I'm Tijney and I'm here with Coach Dave Academy to give you some lap guides for this week's Gran Turismo daily races. We're going to go into some of the brake markers, where you can accelerate, just pinpoint some areas of improvement where you can get up that all-important leaderboard. First up, we're going to go to daily race A, which is Sardinia Layout B in reverse, and we are in a Honda S2000. Here we are then at the start of the lap here at Sardinia, and we're going to keep going down the straight here. We're going to slow it down to 50% just so I can explain some of this stuff in a little bit more detail. As we approach turn number 1 here, notice I've already started turning left, and I've highlighted here the white paint there where it meets the tarmac. Okay, now this is your brake marker, but what I'm trying to do at the moment is I'm trying to turn towards the second turn. Okay, the first turn is the left, second turn is the right. So we can brake in a straight line, we can have the best braking efficiency possible. And that's the goal here, okay? We want to be able to brake as efficiently as possible. So I'm aiming towards the second corner. So I'm going to aim straight all the way to this corner. I'm going to go hard on the brakes right now. You can see where this is on chase cam. And watch what I do it now. So I'm coming down the brakes here, up down to third gear as I go into here. I'm going to release the brakes, let the car roll through the corner a little bit. Go a little bit on power there to bounce the car because I do suffer some lift-off oversteer there, and then I can continue on through here then. We're going to approach the next corner now, and at the end of this curve that I've just highlighted right here, this is our turning marker and lift-off marker. You're not braking for this corner, you're just going to lift off and let the car do its own thing. So what I want you to do here is just turn into the corner, let it roll, and I want you to aim for a specific speed. That speed is 90 miles an hour. Now, I've got kilometers an hour on the screen as well, so you'll be able to see the equivalent if you do race in kilometers an hour. And you can see this here in chase cam as well. The idea here is we're letting the car do the work now. We don't have to do anything in this regard. So watch what I do right now. I'm just going to lift off and let the car roll through. Aiming for 90 miles an hour. There's 90. We go on throttle. We actually dropped to 89, so we could improve there a little bit. We continue on through now in 4th gear. Now what we're going to do is similar to turn 1. So we're aiming towards the corner, but we're not quite aiming for the apex here. It's a double apex right-hander. Now the reason for this is because we want to go out to come back. Now on the left hand side I've highlighted this grass into gravel section. This is your brake marker, so we want to turn and then hit the brakes, and you're going to see me go straight all the way towards the outside. I'll then start to release the brakes and then turn into the second apex, which is the one we actually want to hit. Let me show you how that's done, as you can see here in chase cam. So we're going to go hard on the brakes right now. There we go, and we're down to third gear. Notice how we're pointing. We start to lift, the car gets to turn. We lift off completely, the car then rotates, and then we go on throttle in third gear. If you turn in too early to that corner, you're going to go off wide, so just be careful about doing that. Make sure you get out wide to then come back on that corner. We've already approached the next braking marker already. So on the right hand side, we have this gravel, and you notice a little bit of grass on the outside there. That is our brake marker for this left-hander. Now, this is a very tricky corner to get right. And the reason for the trickiness is it's downhill. We're literally going downhill. So when you go on the brakes, you have to brake earlier to slow the car down because gravity is pulling that car down. So what I want you to do here, you notice the patch of grass there. You can see it more clearly here. I want you to go on the brakes. Now, you can do this corner in third or second gear. Second gear is slightly quicker. Third gear is more stable. So pick and choose as you like. Maybe get confidence in third, then drop to second. Turn in extremely early here. Make sure you cut the inside. Look at the throttle there. I was about quarter throttle there through the corner. We straighten up the car, and then we go up to third gear. Now, if we're already in third gear, we just accelerate through. The car won't suffer as much oversteer. Just put it back to 100% speed here, just because we're going to head up here. It's all flat out, nice and easy, and we'll start to slow it down again right here. So we're going to go towards the right-hand side now. We want to get as far right as possible for this corner, okay? This car understeered a little bit, but let's get as far right as possible. And then we're looking for this 50 board right here. Now, this 50 board is critical, okay? It's very easy to brake a little bit later, maybe at the red and white barrier starting a bit further on. But you want to brake earlier. This corner is cambered, which means you want to get on the inside of this as much as possible. Now, the reason for this, if a corner is cambered, you press into the corner, you can carry a bit more speed through it. And the more inside you are, the more camber there is, the more speed you carry. You get the idea, right? So we want to keep a nice tight line for this corner, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I use 50 board as a brake marker. I'm going to chuck the car into this corner now. You can see where the camber is. We need to get in there now. Do we get it all the way in? No, not quite. We can improve on that corner, but you can see the methodology behind it. We finally get to the curb there. We can accelerate out of this corner, and look at this. We've made the corner absolutely fine. I'm going to head over towards the left-hand side now then. And what we're looking for is actually on the right-hand side. Okay, and we've got this orange barrier there. It's just before the start of the red and white Armco on the right-hand side. really good brake marker. Now this corner, a very tricky corner to get right. Okay, you need to go for a very late apex. Now, on the exit, you could be in second or third gear, depending on how you want to balance the car. Second gear is very oversteer, so I highly recommend third. I'm pretty sure I do it in third in this scenario. I did try both at the time. So what do I do right now? I'm going to stick towards the left-hand side a bit longer than normal and go for that later apex. And as I say, I'm going to stay in third gear for this one. So we go hard on the brakes. We then start to release the brakes. The car will want to turn in. Notice there we get the rotation. Release the brakes completely when that rotation starts. We go on throttle. That settles the car in third gear. Now, if you're in second, that car will continue to rotate. So you do have to be careful of that, and you'd have to counter steer. So just be careful with that. Now, for this right-hander, it's quite flat, to be honest with you, but you will need to lift because you need to get really tight. So go up to fourth gear. We turn it into this now. We don't want to go over the raised curb coming up. So we just lift off and we just miss it there, okay? Gives us a nice line for this left-hander because we want to be as far left as possible for the final corner. We lift off a little bit more, let the car do its own thing. And the end of the red and white curb in here is our brake marker, okay? Now, you want to be as far left as possible and in second gear for the exit. Now, second gear is slightly quicker than third gear on the exit. Third gear, once again, is a bit more stable in this car, so do keep that in mind. But literally, the end of that red and white curb in, you're going to hit the brakes. You're going to go in second gear. We're then going to turn into this corner, and then we need to straighten up as quick as possible on the exit, okay? So watch what I'm about to do right now then. So we're going to go hard on the brakes. We're going to drop to second gear, and then we're going to turn into this. We'll release the brakes, let the car do its own thing. We're going to go onto throttle right now. Notice 50, 75%, and then 100%. We're going to straighten up as quick as we can, use all of the exit curb up to third gear, and now we can accelerate all the way to the line then. And this is a lap of Sardinia Layout B in reverse, in a nutshell, in a Honda S2000. What we're going to do now is go into a Martin Brundle style lap. This will allow you to just do it as you go, if that makes sense. So just remember my voice. So head towards turn one. We're going to turn left a little bit, and then as we get to the white paint there, we're going to hit the brakes, drop to third gear, release the brakes, let the car roll through the corner a little bit on throttle to bounce the car, continue on through. Looking for the curb. Here it is. End of the curb. We're going to lift off, turn in. 90 miles an hour is our aim. There it is. Go on throttle. Accelerate through the corner. We're now going to point towards the corner a little bit here. Start the gravel there, hit the brakes. Go to the outside, release the brakes, let the car rotate, turn in, third gear, accelerate through. Use all of the space on the exit over towards the right hand side. We're looking for the green patch of grass. There it is. Hit the brakes. Can drop to second gear here. Turning very early. Make sure you get on the inside this corner. Straight up as quick as you can. Up to third gear. Maximize the revs if you're really going for the ultimate lap times here at Sardinia Layout B. So what we can do now is just chill out a little bit as we go towards this hill. What we want to do is keep it nice and tight towards the right hand side. It will understeer a little bit, but get over as far right as possible. Look for the 50 board. There it is. We hit hard on the brakes. Turn in. Get on the inside. Get on that camber as quick as you can. Notice that I have to brake mid corner to really get it in there. So right through over towards the left hand side. We're looking on the right now for the orange painted barrier. Where it is. There it is. Hit the brakes. Late apex for this one. Release the brakes. Let the car rotate. Instantly on throttle. Let the car balance itself. Don't run too wide here. That barrier is very close. Continue on. We're going to go up to fourth gear as we turn in, and then we're going to lift off now. Let the car do its thing. Miss the curb there a little bit. Accelerate a little bit more. Then lift off as we go to this left-hander. Then end of the curb. We hit the brakes. Drop to second gear. Turn in. Get on the inside there. Straighten the car up as quick as possible in second gear. Up to third gear. Now we can head towards the line. This is a fantastic lap, in my opinion at least, at Sardinia Layout B in reverse in the Honda S2000. It's a 138.8, and you can also follow that on the leaderboard. Let's have a look now at some Delta data and see where else I could improve. So here we are in Delta, and I've actually loaded Manu Rodri's lap here, another pro at Coach Dave Academy, who actually went a little bit slower than me, 1.5 tenths slower, but we'll be able to see if there are still places we can improve because the lap time is so close. So we're going to go through this lap initially then, here at Sardinia Layout B in reverse. Now, as we go through turn one, we actually carry a lot more speed into the corner. Now, as we go through this corner, we actually lose a little bit on the exit there. So that tells me I'm trying to carry a bit too much speed. Now, I would argue, actually, here, I'm actually carrying the perfect speed. I just don't settle the car right as we go through the corner, and it's the exit where I lose out. So that's an area I can improve on for sure there, as we lose about 0.5 tenth. Now, we're going to go through the right-hander there. We actually benefit there. We gain through there. And we come down to this sharp left-hander. This is a downhill left-hander. Let's have a look at this one then as we go down here. So, I actually slowed the car down earlier. I did talk about braking earlier, remember? So, we're actually equal at this moment in time. Now, as we go through this corner, look at that. I'm up here once again, 0.5 tenth. So, we're going to continue on up here. Actually, lose a little bit of time there. Not sure to what. But you can see now we're about even on speed there. That could just be a case of replay issue as we go into the left-hander here. So once again, I'm braking earlier than Manu Rodri into these corners. I'm trying to get on the inside there, and we're still even. As we go into this right-hander then, let's have a look at this. Oh, we lose time in this right-hander. Now, critically on that one, I did go for later apex, but now is that a gearing issue? So we're going to go down a little bit here, and you'll notice there, Manu Rodri goes to second gear. Hopefully you can see that. Let me just check. You can indeed. Manu Rodri goes to second gear. So it shows you second gear just that little bit better, but third gear gave me more stability. So I'd lose out half a tenth there. So that's critical, that. Somewhere where I can improve on the lap. All right, we're going to continue on in terms of this lap then. So we're even at this moment in time. We go through the right there, so we benefit from that. We go to the left, and we get to this final corner then. This one is a tricky one. Remember, I said second gear for this corner. So as we go into this, we are about even. On the exit, though, I benefit massively. A whole tenth of a second in one corner. Shows you where you can improve. Now, the difference here, let's go down the gears again. Let's have a look at this one. So we're going to come into here. Manu Rodri goes to third gear. So I benefit a little bit by carrying a bit more speed. Nothing crazy there. Manu Rodri's gone to second gear a bit earlier than me. We go through the corner. And then on the exit, it looks like Manu Rodri's just gone to third gear right now. Notice we're even on lap times. But because I stay in second gear that little bit longer and maximize the VTEC in this car, we gain a tenth of a second. So it shows you how critical it is, the final RPM in this car, the Honda S2000. That's it for Daily Race A, though. Let's jump to Daily Race B, where we're at the Nürburgring. Here we are then at the Nürburgring. I'm jumping straight into this one. A long lap. Let's get into it. +3 brake bounce in this Lexus if you want to use the exact same car here. We're going to head towards turn 1, and on the left-hand side, we have this piece of tarmac which goes into the grass. This is your first brake marker, okay? Now, depending on the Group 3 car you use, you may brake a bit after this, you may brake a bit before it, but critically, this is the marker you should use, okay? So hard on the brakes now as we go into this corner. Down to first gear. We make sure we clip the inside apex. Accelerate a little bit. Lift off. Dab the brakes as well. Let the car settle. Notice how bumpy it is on the exit there. Once the car settles, you can then accelerate through. We can't do 50% here in terms of speed just because of how long this lap actually is. We get to our next brake marker then, and the short circuit veers off towards the right-hand side. Well, we carry straight on, and where that white line just disperses there, this is our brake marker for this left-hander. You can see where this is on chase cam. I want you to trail brake into this corner and continue to trail brake through it and try and get as far left as possible, because the end of the red and white curbing on the left hand side is your next brake marker, okay? Now, we've already dropped to second gear for this one. You're going to trail brake in, you're going to let the car roll a little bit, and then you're going to want to settle the car's rear end. Because we're going downhill a little bit, the weight is not going to be on the rear, so it'll want to get some oversteer. So I initially go, well, I did there, 75% throttle, that's kind of the extreme end. It didn't rotate fully there, so we could carry on, the car stabilized. 100% throttle all the way down here, where I'm going to give you 3 brake markers. First of all, on the left-hand side, we have this drainage or curb-like item there on the left-hand side. We also have the leaderboard, which is the second one on the right. And then we have the cabin on the far right. I use the cabin, okay? So as the cabin disappears off the edge of my screen, I'm going to hit the brakes. Now, I come into this corner a bit on the outside. I try and keep it nice and tight. And I'm looking for these 2 markers to accelerate from. Either the concrete up ahead as it hits the middle of my screen, or the exit curb. Now, the exit curb's arguably better because you want to look where you're going, and you do want to use all of the exit curb. You do need to be careful on the exit though. Notice that I'm not 100% throttle because I'm trying to get the car stable as I go through this corner. I'm going to head up to the Schumacher S. This is nice and flat in most cars. If you do struggle with a bit of understeer though, tiny lift as you turn in and then accelerate through the corner. We head over now to the right hand side here then. We've just gone over the little bit of curb that's there. We've now got a piece of tarmac on the right hand side. And on the left hand side is a Marshall and a Marshall box. Great brake marker for this one. It's on the left hand side. It's literally on par with the 100 board, but obviously goes off the edge of your screen first. I want you to brake in a straight line now and turn in a bit later than normal. Clip the curb. We're up to third gear, short shift there to stop any power oversteer. And as we accelerate through, we get over as far left as possible, and we're looking for the Marshall, or as the tarmac meets the grass on the right side, as a little brake marker. So here we're just dabbing the brakes. We want to get the car rotated, and then we're going to let the car roll a little bit through the corner. We're going to let the car do its own thing here. Let the downforce work. Notice there, let it roll. We go up to third gear, and once we know we're going to make it, we then accelerate. Arguably, there's a bit more time there in that lap. So we're going to fast forward now towards a very good chicane, my favorite chicane here at the Nürburgring. And on the right side, we have this metal structure, green metal structure right there, okay? That is our brake marker. I want you to drop it down a couple of gears in most cars, maybe one gear if you really want to push your luck. And then I want you to chuck it left and then chuck it right, okay? You don't have to worry about bouncing anywhere because it's kind of flat as we go through there. Notice how much of the track I use there. I'm really pushing my luck. On the left-hand side, we have this red painted barrier, okay? This is your brake marker for getting onto the Nordschleife now, okay? So as that hits the edge of my screen, I'm going to hit the brakes. I want to trail brake into this corner. It's a long braking zone, basically, here. Long braking phase, because I just want to get the car slowed, but carry a bit of momentum through there as well. Be careful as you go on there. Notice there are a few bumps. It did unsettle the car. I did get a bit of power oversteer. Next up then, on the right side, we have the end of the pit exit there for the Nords. And literally, that's our brake marker. So we're going to go just past that, hit the brakes, and actually use some of that extra bit of tarmac on the right-hand side, okay? And the reason for that is to open up this corner. So we're going to let the car roll a little bit, then go to 75% throttle. When it's safe, we then go to 100% throttle. We accelerate down the hill then through this right-hander, which is flat in most cars, and as we continue on towards our left-right then. So on the right side here, we have these triangles on the fences. Now, initially, you won't spot these very easily, okay? And as you get used to them, you will then start to spot them. So critically, you need to keep an eye out for these on fences. Really good marker, this one. We're going to hit the brakes. We're going to trail brake into the first left, and then trail brake a bit more as we go into the right. Okay, that slows the car down. We can go on throttle. We're going to accelerate it through a little bit. We then want to go towards left, then we want to lift and dab the brakes for the right, and then dab the brakes for the left. Start to accelerate. Head over towards left-hand side, and then we're going to hit the brakes again. Turn in. Settle the car as we go through the first curb. If you do touch the grass on the second part there, just be careful because it can cause some oversteer. We get to flood plats then. This is flat. Now I actually do this a tiny bit wrong here. Notice that I get a bit of understeer and had to lift. Most cars you don't have to lift, and you don't have to lift in this Lexus either. I just did it a little bit wrong. Through the left we go then. This is flat, and what we're looking for now is the end of the curb on the left-hand side. This is our next brake marker, okay? Now, in some cars, it's going to be just before the end of the curb. In some, it's just after. In the Lexus, it's bang on the end of this curb, okay? I want you to brake in a straight line. I actually want you to go for a later apex into this corner. The reason for that is if you go too early, you're just there, you're lagging a bit on speed, okay? You can maintain more speed for later apex. We're continuing out the corner then, and we can head to the foxhole as we go down here. Now, we've got two brake markers here for you. On the left-hand side, we have the red painted barrier. On the right, we have the white sign. I use the white sign, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit the brakes, not a lot though, because I want to carry the speed through the corner. So I'm going to dab the brakes and chuck it left. I can't see the curb, but I know it's there based on the sign. I clip it, and then as I get in a straight line, I hit the brakes. I come off the brakes, and I go on the brakes again, and as I want to turn, I release the brakes. Let the car roll through here a little bit, accelerate a little bit, let the car roll, and then accelerate. If you do clip the curb on the right-hand side, just be careful of oversteer because that will unsettle the car. They are massive curbs here. Through the left we go, tiny bit of a lift then, and critically our next braking zone is the end of this curb on the right-hand side, okay? And we're braking just before we get to the end of it here. We're actually braking a tiny bit too early here, probably 5 meters later, and it would be bob on. So we're going to hit the brakes, later turn in for this one because you don't want to run wide here. Notice how late we left it. We then clip the curb, accelerate through. If you touch the curb on the right, be very careful. That can throw your car here, there, absolutely everywhere. Next up on the left-hand side, we have this white sign. This is the last of a few white signs on the left-hand side, actually. This is our brake marker, and you do have to be patient on this corner as well. So as you go into here, go onto the brakes, trail brake a little bit, then let the car roll. So they're harder brakes, trail brake, trail brake, trail brake, let the car roll. Into third gear we went there just to stop some power oversteer. Head over towards the right side now. We're going to go into this corner, and then through the right we go, out towards left hand side, and then we get to our next brake marker. Okay, so this is a multiple apex corner. Now I use the start of the curb as a bit of a brake marker here, okay? I go, right, okay, I need to use that. And I want to get the car turned in. Turned into this corner, and I want to follow it through. Okay, now some of these you will miss, some of them you will hit. There we go. So we nail that one perfectly. We then go towards the outside, and then we can accelerate on. So like the triangle we used earlier on, we're using a triangle once again for the hairpin here at the Nürburgring. So as that gets towards the edge of your screen, you're going to hit the brakes. I brake a little bit early here because I was just getting used to the car, and it was very early on in the morning. But I'm going to hit the brakes now, okay? And I want to come off the brakes as I turn right, and then hard on the brakes again. Always brake in a straight line at 100%, and if you go to turn, just release the brakes a little bit. It allows the tyres to actually turn and brake at the same time. Think of a wheel as only being able to do 100% of something, and then adjust accordingly. We get to our next brake marker then, which is the Portaloo on the right-hand side. So as that leaves the screen, I'm going to hit the brakes, okay? I'm going to drop one gear. Now, there is an exit concrete area here, which is really big, but it also can unsettle a lot of cars. So be careful about using that as we turn into this one, okay? Notice how much a trail brake there, up to third gear. I don't use it this time. Head over towards left-hand side. On the right, we have this catch fence. Okay, so the end of the catch fence is our brake marker, and we want to brake literally at this moment in time. We want to chuck the car into this corner. Now, halfway through this corner, there's a really dangerous bump that you got to be careful of. So let the car roll through the corner a little bit. Once you're over the bump, then accelerate. And there we go. Nice and easy. Notice there we don't really feel the bump. If you're accelerating, you'll feel the bump a lot, and you may get some oversteer. We're going to continue on now through this left kink then, and we can get ready for our next braking zone then, which is where the Yokohama sign is on the right hand side. Now I brake just before I get to this one, and this corner requires a very late apex. You've got a long acceleration period coming up. It's going uphill as well, so you need to maximize the exit speed here. So stick as far left as possible. Notice how I do that now. Then I turn in for the late apex and then accelerate through. I could have done that a little bit quicker, but again, it's early morning. I was being cautious. And now it's full throttle all the way up here to the highest point at the Nürburgring as we head over towards the right-hand side. There's a curve there. End of that. Lift off, turn in, and then try and maintain as much speed as you can in your Group 3 car, your favorite Group 3 car. Continuing on through here, the right kink as well is flat out as we head towards our next brake marker on the left-hand side, okay, which is the start of the curb. You'll notice at the Nürburgring, it's always start and ends of curbs mainly as your brake markers, because that's our most common reference point. So we're going to hit the brakes here. We're going to brake in a straight line, okay? It's a slight left into a right. We brake in a straight line, and as we get towards the end of our braking zone, we then start to release the brakes and it allows the car to turn. Be careful on exit. Notice there, I stayed at about 60% throttle for quite a while, and that's to make sure the car stays stable. Going to head towards the carousel. Lovely brake marker on the left-hand side, a big tree. Very obvious, you're not going to miss it. So as that leaves the edge of your screen on the left-hand side, guess what you're going to do? You're going to hit the brakes. You're going to hit the brakes as you go into the carousel. Now, you want to get on the inside here, okay? It very much allows you to carry more speed because of how cambered it is. Notice there, we're trying to carry as much speed as possible. As you get towards the exit, do accelerate out of there. Just be careful of power oversteer because the weight is going to transition and fluctuate as you come off that corner. We're going to accelerate through here, over towards the left-hand side, flat out here. We've got a long curb there, but we have a start of a curb once again there for this left-hander. This is a left, right, right. Okay, so you want to carry as much speed as you can here. Because it's slightly uphill, you can carry more speed than normal because the hill itself, gravity, will slow the car down. So we're going to hit the brakes here and turn in. We're actually going to drop a gear as well, and then we'll go up to 4th gear. We're going to accelerate a little bit more, then brake a little bit, accelerate a bit more. And on the right-hand side there, we have a red painted barrier. We cannot see the apex right now. But we know when that hits the edge of my screen, I need to brake and turn in, okay? And the fact that I know that's my marker means I should make this corner every single time. Otherwise, you might miss it. So there we go. We turn in, try and carry some speed, and then accelerate through. This is where it gets tricky because depending on the car, depending on how it reacts. But as we turn into here, we're going to lift off a little bit, then hit the brakes, turn left, keep going, dab the brakes again as we go over to the right and use that curb. Continue on down here, and everybody now brakes because it depended on the Group 3 car on the prior corners, the end of the curb here. So this is our brake marker. You want a later apex for this corner. An earlier apex will mean you go off wide and actually crash. A later apex should mean you make it round absolutely fine. Now, I turned in a bit too early there, tiny bit too early, and you notice there I couldn't fully accelerate out the corner because of that. Okay, I was understeering out off the circuit. We get to the Yokohama sign on the right side. This is our brake marker for this left-hander. So just before we get to that, we're going to hit the brakes and then we're going to turn in. I want to keep a nice tight line through this left-hander, okay? Because our next corner is a right-hand turn. So get over to the left-hand side as much as you can. And then the end of the curb on the left-hand side is our brake marker as we go into this right-hander. Now, you want to carry quite a bit of speed through here, okay? It allows the downforce of the Group 3 cars to really work. So that's what I'm going to try and do here. I'm not going to go hard on the anchors, but I'm going to brake as much, as least as I can, but quick as I can there as well. Not really 100% as I continue on through. Use all of the exit there. Once again, we're going to get to this corner here, and this is a late apex corner. So, end of the curb. I only use this curb on the left-hand side. I could use the one on the right, but this one, because it's a late apex, I don't want to look right yet. I want to stay to the left-hand side. So I'm going to hit the brakes, turn in. Just let the car bounce through here. This is where you see most of the crashes on YouTube because people turn in too early and understeer off, okay? Head over towards the right-hand side then. Row of trees there. The last tree on the left-hand side is your brake marker. So literally, another late apex corner. There's a lot of these at the Nürburgring. As that tree leaves the edge of your screen on the left-hand side, you're going to hit the brakes. Just be careful on the exit here because there's a few bumps, and then you're going to mount a curb as well because you want to straight line this next bit here. So we straight line it, we mount the curb, a little bit of bounce there, nothing major. Continue on through here. We're going to get to a bit of a jump. I want you to brake just before you get to the jump. It'll overload the front with the weight, and that should keep the car settled. We can now accelerate through these corners in 4th gear over towards the left-hand side. We are going to get to another jump in a second, but because it's not quite as sharp of a turn, we can survive it as you see right there. full throttle all the way through here, then left, right, happy days, nice and easy until we get to our next brake marker, which is on the right hand side. There's this little catch fence there. There's actually a flag indicator in the race, so if you are racing and you're struggling to see that, there's a flag indicator, so just look for that and it's very obvious. You're going to hit the brakes here, you're going to trail brake. Now, depending on how well you're doing on your lap, depends on how much risk you want to take here, but you can carry a lot of speed here if you get it right. So we accelerate through there. End of the curb is our next brake marker. We're braking a little bit early for this one. We should be braking a little bit later and a bit closer to the marker I've highlighted here. But again, I wanted to complete the lap so I could bring you this lap. So we hit the brakes, we're going to turn in and carry as much speed as we can through this left-hander. Now there is a curb on the exit which you can use, just be careful about using it because if you turn and hit it the wrong way, you got a bit of an issue. Now the arm car on the right side looks like it's been repaired and it's always there. This is a good brake marker for the mini carousel, okay? So very obvious on the right side. We're going to hit the brakes and we need to get the car tucked in as tight as possible for this one. The more wide you go, so slow. So get on the inside here. Notice how much of it we use. We can then accelerate out and it smoothens out as well. The tighter you are, smoothens out the exit, whereas if you jump it too soon. We head up here then, end of the curb is our distance marker. We brake a little bit, turn in, and I want to carry as much speed as we can onto the straight here. And then we can chill out for about 2 kilometers or so, just flat out racing here then. And yeah, just think about the last corner because this is an all-important brake marker that is coming up then. So we have stopped fast forward in here. We accelerate, continue through the right hander, and the end of that curb on the right hand side is your brake marker. This is a safety marker really more than your actual brake marker because you can brake a bit later on than this. I brake here to make sure I finish the lap, okay? And I'd highly advise you do this initially, get used to it, and then start extending your braking zone. We hit the brakes, we go over towards left hand side, we release the brakes, turn into the curb. Be careful about mounting the curb on the left. If you mount it too much, you're going to go for a spin. That's a lap here at the Nürburgring 24-hour layout, and that is it for Daily Race B. Let's jump to Daily Race C. Here we are with Daily Race C then. Daily Race C is at Brands Hatch GP circuit, and we're in Group 4 machinery. Now, for this lap, I'm using the Renault Megane Trophy. Let's jump into that lap. We're going to break it down into a step-by-step guide. We'll go into a fast lap, as well as look at some Delta data to see where we can improve on this lap, just to get that little bit more time. Here we are then, about to cross the start-finish line. If you're wondering, brake balance, +5 brake balance. You can see that in the bottom right-hand side graphic. We're going to head towards the left-hand side here at Brands Hatch, and we've got a marshal box there. It's in between the 2 and the 1 board, okay? Now, when you get to this marshal box, you're going to want to start to trail brake. Now, you can drop to 3rd gear to get a little bit more rotation if you want to. I like to stay in 4th for this one, just to try and maintain the speed through the corner, and it does keep the car a little bit more balanced. Now, in terms of chase cam, you can see the marshal box right there. You can see the 1 board in the distance. We've literally just passed the 2 board behind. So watch what I do now. We're going to trail brake all the way into this corner then to try and slow the car down. Didn't hit 100% once there. We're trying to carry the speed through. If we could clip the curb, that would be even better. Just missed it, believe so. We can continue on through all the same. We use all of the exit and then some. Be careful about touching that gravel. It can spear you off towards the right-hand side. We approach Druids End here at Brands Hatch. Now, you can use the bridge up ahead, the Palmer Sport Bridge, if you really want to, okay? But I highly recommend actually using the red painted barrier on the left-hand side. It's a really good marker, this barrier, okay? So in the Megane Trophy, you want to brake just after that leaves the screen. In other cars, you'll brake as it's on the edge of your screen or just before it hits the edge of your screen, depending on the car you are using. So as we come into here, we're going to go hard on the brakes, okay? We're going to drop down to 2nd gear for this one. And we really want to keep the car nice and tight. The reason for that is we want to get round the corner and just get the car rotated and go, okay? Notice there, I'm very close to the curb. I start to accelerate out. 2nd gear gives me a bit more rotation, but we continue on out of there now and we get to the end of the 1st sector. We head over towards the right-hand side, where now we're going to pick out 2 brake markers for Graham Hill. The first one is actually the curb in the distance. Now, if you use this, you do have to be careful about clipping the grass on the outside because wherever you're looking is where the car's going to go. Alternatively, I've highlighted the 1 and the green there on the right-hand side. That's what I use here. It's a bit earlier in terms of braking. It allows me to trail brake a bit more. It also allows me to rotate that car that little bit more. So that's the brake marker I would highly advise you use there, and that's what I'm going to use here for now on this particular lap. So what we're going to do now, we hit the brakes, trail brake once again, then we're going to release the brakes, let the car go through the corner and then start to accelerate. You can use all of this exit curb, okay? Just be careful about mounting it straight on because it might cause the car to rotate. And just slightly glance it, you should be absolutely fine. We continue on now towards left-hander. We're going to go onto the full circuit now. I'll come away from the Indy circuit. And on the right side here, we've got the one board and the green there on the barrier. This is our brake marker. Again, in some Group 4 cars, you're going to brake literally at this point. In the Megane Trophy, we're going to brake just after it leaves the screen on our right-hand side. Now, in some cars, you're going to want to take a nice tight line here. So the Genesis is a good example of that. In the Renault Megane Trophy, you want to take a wider line to carry the momentum. This car rotates a bit better, and let me show you how you do this then. So we're going to hit the brakes here, as you're seeing right now. We'll start to release the brakes. That allows the car to rotate. Notice it instantly wants to rotate. Once we've got enough rotation, we can then stay in third gear and just accelerate through the corner, and we can maintain the speed then, maintain the acceleration onto the back straight here as we then head towards the next corner. And that's critical here. It's all about maintaining the speed through here. You can gain so much down this back straight. We can now breathe. We can see the corner in the distance. We're going to slow it down here again, and we're going to focus our attention to the right-hand side, where there is a red painted barrier right there. Now, once again, you may want to brake here if you're in a car which struggles with brakes or handling. However, the Megane Trophy is very good in terms of handling. So I'm going to brake just after that leaves the screen on the right-hand side. Now, you actually want to take a wider line in. You will carry more speed if you do that, but you have to make sure you get the rotation if you're planning a wider line in. Otherwise, keep it nice and tight and try and maintain 100 miles an hour, which is the apex speed I am aiming for in the Megane Trophy. It's also what I aim for in the Genesis. Let's go into here then. Notice the trail brake, trail brake, trail brake. We're going to release it now. It's still trying to get on throttle there. We clip the curb. Once you clip the curb, accelerate. Notice I was at 101 mile an hour. I did that corner very well indeed. We'll see how well in the Delta data afterwards. We continue on then, and on the left-hand side, we have another red painted barrier. This is our brake marker for this right-hander. Now, I want you to mount the curb on the inside for this one. I really want you to do that. I'm actually going to drop to third gear initially, just to get a tiny bit of rotation round the corner. We're then going to short shift to fourth to try and maintain the speed through the corner. If we're in third gear and we mount the curb, it may force some oversteer. So I highly advise you short shift to fourth gear to make sure you maintain some balance in the car. And balance is always good. Let me show you what I mean by this then. So we go onto the brakes then, release, we're in third gear, we go straight up to fourth gear before we hit it, and then we can accelerate through. Be careful about touching the gravel on the exit because it can pull you in there, and you do have to be careful of that. We accelerate down this hill, and we're going to go up the other side now. We've got boards on the inside. There is the two board. The board we're interested in, though, is that one board right there. So as it hits your screen, this is your next brake marker. Now, it's a right-hander, so you should be looking right anyway. So you should be more in your line of sight. Okay, so hit your screen, you're going to start trail braking and turning. You can't see the apex right now, but trust me, it's there when you start turning. And if you shift the weight, overload the left rear there, the car's already going to rotate, and you're not going to understeer out onto the grass, are you, on the exit? So this is what we're going to do right now. And you can see here, I literally have just gone on the brakes exactly where I said I was. We're going to trail brake into the corner. We're going to mount the curb. Hopefully there we can see it. We clip the curb, absolutely spot on, and we accelerate through. We're going to head over towards that right-hand side now, and we're looking for a very obvious brake marker. There's actually a few of them. The marshals on the right-hand side. So we've got one that's very close, got a couple further away, and actually the catch fence is a little bit bigger here as well. So it's a really obvious brake marker. How do you advise you use this? Now, this corner is slightly cambered on the inside, so you really need to get on the inside of this corner. Arguably, if you clip the grass on the inside, even better in some cars, okay? So we're going to hit the brakes, we're going to chuck the car in, make sure we use all the camber on the inside of the corner to maximize the speed through the corner and get the best of the exit as well. Here we go then, hard on the brakes, we start to release it, we turn in. We use all of the curb on the inside. Arguably, I could have used a bit more there, so some time, I reckon, in that last corner. But we accelerate out of there now, and we can head towards the final corner here at Brands Hatch GP circuit. So we're heading over towards the left-hand side, and I'm going to give you 3 brake markers now, okay, when we get there. First of all, we've got the green on the left-hand side. That is what I use. I actually brake after that leaves the edge of my screen on the left-hand side. We also have a one board up ahead, and we also have the Indy circuit joining this circuit there as well, or this circuit joining the Indy circuit, whichever way you want to look at it. Now, that is a distance marker, so you brake before you get to that point. The green one, though, is I brake just after that leaves the edge of my screen on the left-hand side. Arguably, if you're in chase cam like we are now, it'll be literally as it hits the edge of the screen. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to drop to third gear as well. It gets a bit of rotation. We're going to short shift to fourth gear then to maintain some balance in the car and accelerate through this corner. Now, Brands Hatch all about getting the shortest run to the line, so get over towards the right hand side here. This is the shortest run, and it will save you about half a tenth or so, which will help you on the leaderboard. That is a 1:30.2, and you can follow that one on the leaderboard here as we go into the actual live lap now. So through Paddock Hill we go, 4th gear, accelerate through there. The marsh box was our brake marker. Heading up here then, the red barrier on the left hand side, there it is. Hit the brakes. Trail brake all the way in, start to release the brakes, keep it nice and tight. Instantly start accelerating, hope you get the rotation. Continue on through, head over towards the right hand side, look for the one board and the green, there it is. Hit the brake, trail brake, clip the inside, let the car roll, then accelerate, use all the curb on the exit, continue on. Once again, same brake marker as the previous corner, the one and the green, there it is. Hit the brakes, stay out wide, let the car rotate, release, now go, accelerate through this, just keep turning and you will make it. As we get onto the back straight now, we can breathe. We've done a very hard part of the lap. Arguably though, this next part is a little bit harder because it's all about carrying and maintaining speed. So the red paint barrier on the red side, there it is. We accelerate through here, 100 miles an hour minimum. Aim for that one then. Continue on through. Look at the red mark on the left hand side. Where is it? There it is. Hit the brakes per gear. Turn in 4th gear before you hit the curb. Accelerate through. Make sure you don't clip that gravel too much because otherwise you're going to go for a spin. Through Dingle Dell, there's the 2, there's the 1, hit the brakes, turn in, the curb's there, now we can accelerate through, head over towards the right hand side, where are the marshals? There they are, hit their brakes, use all the camber on the inside, clip the curb, continue on through. Final corner, remember I used the green on the left hand side after the bridge then, where is it? There it is, just after it disappears off screen. 3rd gear, up to 4th gear then, accelerate through, go towards the inside, and that is a lap at Brands Hatch GP, and hopefully this lap will help you. Let's jump to Delta then, and let's have a look at some of the data in a little bit more detail. Here we are once again with Delta, and I've loaded Manu Rodri's lap again here, which is actually 2 tenths slower than mine, so we'll be able to see where I actually gain on Manu Rodri and where potentially I lose on Manu Rodri. So we're going to go through turn 1 here. Nothing much changes there. We're carrying about the same speed as we continue on through. I'm 200th up. That's nothing major here. As we go into Druids, we leave there. We do gain a bit of time there. So we actually did Druids quite well. And you saw what I did there, keeping it nice and tight. We go into this part here, Graham Hill. I actually lose some time there. So some time to be gained. And arguably, I didn't actually use all of the exit curve there, which shows I could carry a bit more speed. And that's arguably what's probably happened here. If we go through here, yes, he's carried 2 miles an hour more, which has actually benefited in terms of time. We head to this part here, going onto the back straight, and we're about even as we go into there and out of there. Nothing much has changed there at all as we head down here. Now you could argue we've lost a little bit of time there. Is that a gear change? Yeah, that is definitely some form of gear change, I suspect. If we go down here, yes indeed, they stay in 4th gear just that little bit longer, so it shows you maximizing the revs is critical there as we lost 200ths of a second. Right, okay, we're going into the fast right hander now. Through there we go. We benefit a lot there. We're carrying so much more speed. And that's where I talked about maintaining 100 miles an hour. So if we actually look at it here at the apex, 101.7 versus 99.7 shows you 2 miles an hour difference is substantial through that corner. And you can see the outcome there as we go into the next part here. And once again, we gain more time there. And you can see we've actually, it's about 1.5 miles an hour. Is that a gear difference there? It is a small gear difference. I've gone up to 4th early, which meant I can maintain more speed, unlike Manu Rodri, who stayed in 3rd that bit longer, which is critical. And I did talk about that because mounting the curb actually can unsettle the car if you're in 3rd gear. 4th gear plays a vital role there. We continue on through then, up to the right hander. Nothing much changed there. Into the left. Nothing much changed. We actually lost a little bit of time there, and that's, if you remember, was because I didn't actually get on the inside enough. So yes, I carried a bit more speed initially, but I lost it on the exit because I wasn't using all of the inside of the corner. Final corner then, we go into here and we just maximize the speed there. We absolutely nail that last corner. Remember, 3rd to 4th gear, driving through that corner and then getting the lap time that we need. Now that has been this week's daily races. Hopefully this is of help to you. This has been Tijney and this is Coach Dave Academy. Big thank you for watching as always, and make sure you give it a like and let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.